Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Hull Smasher, which is the item that everyone is getting really worked up about and excited over, which is on the PvE currently. It is going to be the item that is replacing Sanguine Blade, which I thought was quite interesting. I really did not expect it to be the replacement for that item in particular, because I was expecting something with a very similar stat line to Sanguine Blade that was still giving probably lifesteal and AD, maybe not the lethality, maybe not the attack speed, but something similar. But this is essentially the new sort of fighter type split pushing item, which is weird as well because Sanguine Blade was more of a light fighter oriented item, whereas this really isn't. But either way, let's go ahead and talk about it, because a lot of people have been very concerned about Hull Smasher, or Hullbreaker I should say. I don't know why I keep saying Hull Smasher, but Hullbreaker either way. They've been very concerned about it because it seems on paper like the kind of item that is completely and utterly broken just from a design standpoint. And while I do think it's quite good and potentially a little too efficient at the current moment, I don't know that I believe that it's entirely as cracked up as the rest of the community has made it out to be, or even Vanderal's video. I was actually a little underwhelmed watching it. I was kind of expecting, usually it's, really clickbaity and, oh, look how broken this is, but I really actually wasn't that impressed by the Hullbreaker's performance. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about it and kind of say why I don't think it's as good as a lot of people are believing it to be. So first, if you haven't seen it yet, the stats are on the PvE if you guys are interested, but the Hullbreaker is a new fighter item that is going to be added to the game to replace Sanguine Blade. It builds out of a pickaxe and a phage, and costs 2,800 gold in total, which means that you end up paying about 825-ish gold for the combined cost. It provides 50 AD, 300 health, and 150% base health regen, which makes it a sort of build type that's very good for sort of heavier fighters, the Yoriks, the Nasus's, even, like Juggernauts like Garen or Darius would potentially want to be able to build this item if they wanted to index into split pushing. So it doesn't do very well for a lot of the champions people traditionally think of split pushers, the Tryndamirs or the Fioras, or even like the Quins. Like, they don't really care about the health, and they don't really care about the health regen as well, because they don't have very high health totals to start with. But it does mean that if you're playing a split-pushing champion like Yorick, this item is actually going to be right up your alleyway, and like I said before, there are a lot of Juggernauts that can build this as well, especially someone like Set, for example. The unique passive of this item grants you bonus armor and magic resistance that scales based on your champion level. It caps at around 45 bonus armor and MR at level 18, and causes you to deal bonus damage against structures. Large minions that are nearby also gain bonus resistances and deal 200% bonus damage against structures. However, both of these benefits turn off. The self-resistances and your own resistances are going to turn off if you have an allied champion anywhere within 1,400 units. Now, as you might guess, this is an item specifically designed to be split pushing, and it's very good, even if you just look at the raw math behind it, because it's 177% gold efficient at level 18, factoring in the bonus resistances while you're away from allies. This is before you consider the bonus damage that you're getting to towers and the bonus damage and resistances that you're giving to minions, right? Like, that's not even considered at all. And now, while most legendary or mythic items when completed are over 100% gold efficient, just because that's how the game works, the game wants you to be building completed items, and usually gives you more bang for your buck when you finished an item versus when you're building components, because it incentivizes, like I said, building completed items. This is still pretty high for an item. A lot of times items are, I want to say, in the 100, a little bit over 100%, maybe 110, 120, I think at the high end. 177 is pretty high, though this is factoring in the fact that you would be at level 18 when you're actually factoring in this item's resistances. If this is like a first buy, for example, the efficiency is not going to be nearly as high, but it is still fairly high, and again, this is before factoring in the unique passive. That unique passive essentially is for free. You don't even care about the unique passive that this item is giving you if you're away from allies, because you're getting significantly more bang for your buck when you buy Hullbreaker. And that, I think, is the biggest problem I have with this item, is just the raw stat line efficiency that Hullbreaker is giving you is too much. Now, to be fair, Hullbreaker's unique passive is almost entirely PvE oriented, right? There's nothing that this passive really does that helps you in a PvP environment, short of the bonus resistances, which, as I just stated, scale based on your champion level. So for most of the game, it's not going to be nearly as gold efficient as it could be, and essentially you don't have a passive if you're just fighting champions. Whereas a lot of other completed items that you can build give both PvP and PvE benefits, something like Luden's Tempest helping you to wave clear, or Kraken Slayer giving you a little bit of extra damage on objectives, right? Like, those items are not only helping you in the PvP game, but also helping you in the PvE game. Hull Smasher, meanwhile, does not do any of that. It just specifically says you are going to be really good at killing minions and taking towers, and that's about it. So, in that regard, I'm fine with it having a slightly higher gold efficiency than normal. 177 does seem a little high to me, but again, that's at level 18. I'm assuming the efficiency would be a little bit less in earlier stages of the game when you may be building this item and have more towers to take, so that kind of compensates, because let's be real, if you're building this at level 18, your opponents probably don't have very many towers left for you to even kill with Hull Smasher, so in that regard, I don't feel like it's that big of a deal. There could maybe be a small efficiency nerf to this item, increasing the cost by even a couple hundred gold, making a nice round 3,000. Then it's a little bit less efficient and you're a little bit more reliant on having that passive be good. But I feel like in general, split push items do need to have some degree of reduced efficiency in order to compensate for the fact that they are PvE focused entirely. The biggest thing here for me is that it is a bit of a limited item overall. Like, this is not the kind of item that you just like windmill slam into a build unless you're specifically opting into a split push oriented build. And that's sort of a difficult strategy for a lot of ranks to pull off. Like, this isn't even just like a, low elo specifically can't do it. I would say even up through gold, split pushing is a bit of a mixed bag in terms of being able to make it work, because it requires a lot of team coordination, which you often don't have in solo or duo queue, right? You really have to be coordinating with your team and saying, I am going to be in a side lane. I need you guys to not fight, but also to step up and make map pressure and be interesting enough that the enemy team doesn't want to come stop me. But also, like, you have to be present on the map, because if you're not at all, they'll just come kill me. And all by myself, even the bonus resistances you get aren't going to help you if you're up against 3 or 4 other champions, because it's not giving you a lot of benefits against them, unlike some other items like Sterk's Gauge or Hydra might. The biggest thing for me as well about this item is that it is a healthier version, I think, compared to a lot of the other split pushing items, which is a benefit. Zrot Portal and Banner of Command were partially broken because they were completely effortless. You could just put a portal or a banner minion in a side lane, and effectively what you did is you gained a 6th team member to split push with. Like, it's similar in fashion to how the super minions work, where if you can kill an inhibitor in a lane, that lane is just permanently going to push for you, which means that if you group up 5v5, you still have a 6th man, your super minions, pushing for you in that side lane or mid lane, as the case might be. In that regard, that's kind of what Banner of Command and Zrot Portal were doing for the game, is they were kind of saying, hey, you're gonna have this extra team member because you can just slap a portal down the lane, and that lane is going to permanently push for you, and that's kind of a ridiculous thing, and that's not a great thing for the game overall, because it doesn't require any thought process, and then the only thing the enemy team can do is also build a Banner of Commander's Rot Portal to help equalize things. So with that in mind, Hull Smasher is a little less abusable because you have to be in the lane in order for any of those benefits to occur, right? You have to be away from your allies, so you can't even have someone hanging out helping you split push, and also the benefits disappear as soon as you disappear. The second you leave the lane, right? You can't walk top lane and drop a portal. You have to be there helping the minions to push the tower. The second you leave by teleporting or Shen-Aring or doing whatever, all the benefits go away. And therefore, the 6th man scenario never happens, right? You're never able to actually get into that position because you just the item straight up does not allow you to do that. So in that regard, this is actually a healthier version of those items. And especially because split pushing is already hard to pull off in general, I'm not that concerned about Hull Smasher being particularly broken. I know it's Hullbreaker, by the way. I keep saying Hull Smasher for whatever reason, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So either way, I don't know that I'm that concerned about Hullbreaker. I really do feel like this item is probably going to be in a good spot. I know a lot of people are concerned about it, and I think with good cause. I wouldn't say, 100% this item is just, totally ignorable. I think there are some problems I have with it necessarily, but in general, I feel like this item is probably going to be in a good spot. It might be a little bit overtuned on launch, but I'm sort of excited to see how Riot tune it both on PvE, because like I said, it is a little bit gold efficient, but then to see how players actually handle it once it is in their hands on the live servers. But let me know what you guys think of any of this down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts if you think it's a horrendously busted item, or if you guys are like me and you think it's kind of meh. It's an okay item, it's interesting, but it's also not incredibly strong. Let me know all that down in the comment section below. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. If you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and leave a like. And if you really enjoyed today's video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.